of the place.
Congressman Ron Paul joins us now. Congressman Paul, welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Jerry Celente and John Stossel are here as well. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when I said goodbye to you on Friday night at the Millennium Hotel in St. Louis, where 1,000 people, each of whom were trying to shake your hand or somehow touch you, I went to bed and flew home at 6 o'clock in the morning. On Sunday night of that weekend, one of the folks that works for the Campaign for Liberty was detained by the Transportation Safety Administration, interesting name, by the way, safety, for 30 minutes, in which they wanted to know who he worked for, what were the bumper stickers doing in his bag, how much cash was there, where did the cash come from, and what was he going to do with it. That was Steve Bierfeld, whom I know you know, and it was just on with us. And unfortunately for the government, but fortunately for freedom, he had one of those fancy new push-button or touch phones that when he tapped his chest, the phone recorded everything. How far is the TSA going to go? How far is the federal government going to go if they can ask people questions about things that have nothing whatsoever to do with the safe passage on the plane?
They're going to go as far as they're allowed to go. If we allow them to go, they're going to keep using their powers and they'll extend their powers. I think this makes a very good point that safety on airplanes should be a private matter. I think the fact that we had trouble on 9/11 was the fact that we depended on the government. We weren't allowed to have guns. The airlines weren't responsible for our safety, and we ended up with a mess. And yet today, instead of going in the direction of putting all the responsibility on the airlines, who should ask the questions, and we should go under their conditions, and they should make us safe. If they can make carrying money across the city in an armored truck safe, why can't they be responsible? So once you get all these agencies, how many agencies were involved? Probably local police, the TSA, the FBI, and they were going to go down to and check the DEA and everybody else being involved. So it's totally out of control, and it raises questions about taxes. They want to collect taxes. They want to look for drug dealers. And I think the bottom of the list, I think they have not that much concern about safety. If they did, they would listen to how people could be made safe without taking away all our freedoms.
Just pointed out shortly before you came on with us, they could legitimately ask about weapons or things that could harm anyone, but how can the possession of cash possibly pose a danger to the other passengers on that plane? And why were they threatening to bring Steve to the DEA, to the Drug Enforcement Administration? There wasn't a hint, a whiff, a scintilla of the violation of any drug laws. And when he said to them, "Sir, am I legally required to answer these questions, Congressman?" they could not answer him.
Right. And, you know, this shows you the danger of profiling. Maybe he was profiled because he had a Ron Paul bumper sticker. You know, I've been a little bit disappointed because I have worked with the ACLU on various privacy issues, but we haven't heard too much. I don't know if you've heard anything from them on this issue, but it seems to me that the whole issue is profiling and screening people and prejudging people. And whether this was the case with Steve or not, I don't know, but this whole episode out there with the Missouri police is something that we should be concerned about, and hopefully we can continue to build a coalition with principled liberals as well as principled constitutionalists and make sure that we put reins on our government, because you ask me how far they go, they're going to go as far as they can unless the people stand up and said we've had enough and we're not going to put up with it anymore.
Let's switch to the